Josh Northcott and I lived in the same neck of the woods for many years, worked at the same company, didn't know each other there. Both went off on entrepreneurial paths. And Josh was one of the co-founders of an incredible digital marketing company called Hounder. Their perspective and their approach is a little bit different from anybody else I've ever met. Josh is, maybe will also regale you with stories of growing up in Southern California and being a crazy kid. And I think I am going to reveal, Josh is also a former professional musician. And my favorite story is that you once opened for the Pogues, for any fans of the Pogues here. So I think with that, Josh, I can't do any more other than you're going to like wow everybody with who you are. So thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Greg. It's so awesome to be here. I'm going to try this really quick. All right. Hey, cool. Well, thank you so much. I feel like I've met like 20 new best friends so far since I've been here. Thank you so much, OSI, and all the folks here making this happen. This is so cool. I've already learned so much about a lot of what you all do, and I've already taken like a page of notes of things I need to take back and start implementing tomorrow in my own company. So this is really cool. And yeah, I never knew what bombs were earlier too, man. I'm with you. I had no idea. The guy was talking about bombs. I was like, why is no one freaking out right now? This is something. So I've got a chance to learn a lot. So really appreciate it. Cool. So we're going to go through lessons of a startup tech founder, and I wanted to just kind of give you a quick little synopsis. I'm definitely I'm a hollaback speaker as well. So like, please, shout out to me at any point. Have a conversation. This is the last session, I believe, before cocktail hour. So hey, we'll get this party started soon. But going into this, there's going to be some things as well, similar to some of the other talks, where I'll make some bold statements. This is lessons I've learned, and my hope and the whole purpose of this talk is for it to find maybe certain weak spots or certain things that maybe you aren't doing that you should, or something that you are doing that maybe you should stop doing. So it's one of those, it will get maybe a little touchy-feely at times, but it's all going to be fun. And so we're just going to go through it. Now, I got actually a little more than 30 points, so we'll go through them relatively quickly. Okay? Everyone cool with me on that? Awesome. Well, as Greg mentioned, my name's Josh, CTO, co-founder of Hounder. This is not all of us, but our core team here at our office here in Redlands, California. On the left side, that's Austin, a developer, one of our lead developers, and then Rashad, Justin, our other co-founder who heads up the development team. We were talking about, I heard a bunch of cool things about pair programming earlier today from you guys. So these guys are on a call 9 hours a day, pair programming constantly. So firm believers in that. It's absolutely the way to go. Then keep going. There's Joey, who heads up our marketing, as well as Ryan as well, right there next to him, who's our content marketing manager. Brian, who's our head of design, and Bettina. Where is she? Somewhere? Oh, there's Bettina. Everyone say hi, Bettina. That's Bettina, our head of project management. And then there's a few other folks that are not pictured, but this is us. And we are a digital transformation design, dev, and marketing company. We get a chance to work with some really great companies all over the world, so really excited about that. But now getting all into it, a few of the pieces, I'll kind of break them up into different categories. We get into the business, then we talk about us as individuals, and then we talk about like risk and things like that. So first, starting in the business of lessons that we've learned, is one as simple as hard. We talk about simple oftentimes being simple, but in reality, in our world of what we're working on and like the types of complicated softwares and advanced softwares we're doing, it can get really complex really fast, right? So Oftentimes we'll also tell ourselves, like, what we're doing is so, it can be really, really unique, but it can be unique, but it doesn't have to be complex in how we communicate it and what we're doing. And our processes don't have to be complex just because we're a unique organization. You have to keep it simple because, simple, you have to manage it. You have to maintain it. If you're trying to tell someone what you do and how you do it, it needs to be simple. It needs to be human. People don't have time anymore to sit there and try to read about it or think about it or even watch a 5-minute YouTube video. Those videos are 20 seconds now, right? Like, you gotta keep things simple no matter what. Messaging, processes, workflows. And also on this point, you got 2.2 seconds. We've done thousands of user studies, usability studies across global properties and products that we've worked on. And B2B, on the B2B side, there are, on average, a user goes to your site and is on a page for about 2.5 seconds or under, on average. It's remarkable. So you have 2.2 seconds to answer those questions, to answer the questions to get to the heart of something, of what you do, what makes you different, and how you can help solve their problems. Has anyone actually seen this stat before or heard about it or anything? Yeah. Okay, a lot of no's. I see Lee from Modi's like, yep, I know that one. But yeah, 2.2 seconds. So if you can't figure that out and provide that in just at a quick glance, you're doing something wrong. This goes to a little bit to my friends over here. Honesty is the new gangster. Because just like saying I don't know is being honest, there is something about, everyone smells BS these days. We're getting BS thrown at us on a constant basis, right? You probably have sat here today and probably got about 5 LinkedIn messages from someone who's sponsoring an ad to try and get you to respond to them, right? Yeah, we're constantly getting hit with BS all the time. So if you can be honest, it is refreshing to everybody. Just like the example they shared when someone was honest with a customer or client about how they didn't know about something, and it was like, oh, okay, well, I can work with that. If you're honest, yeah, it'll change things. Stop saying you're number one. You all know the companies, right, that do that. We're the number one this, number one that. Does anyone believe that? Even if it's true, no one believes that anymore. Measure yourself by your customer's success. The customers are the story. Whether you're a product, whether you're selling a service, it doesn't matter. You have to measure yourself by your customer's success and share the story, because the product and the end result is the story. The customers are the story, not you. Embrace constraints. This one, does everyone remember when they were like a starving college student? You guys remember those times? Yeah, right? You remember you had that $20 bill and that was gold, right? You had that $20 bill. You made that $20 bill spend like $100 at the grocery store, right? You collected all that top ramen or whatever, right? And you fed yourself for a month on $20. That's a financial constraint, right? You made really, really smart decisions with that $20 bill because that's what you really had. That's the same with business, everybody. That's the same with business. We have to embrace these constraints. Time constraints is another one. Someone can build a product and say they can get it done in 6 months, right? Or you give them 6 months, it'll take 6 months, right? So if they have a timeline of a year, how long will it take them? A year. It's interesting. Time constraints very important. These constraints force us to make good decisions. So think of how we can implement constraints. Putting time constraints on your meetings. Holy smokes, that might change a lot, right? Putting budget constraints on certain other things that you're doing throughout the organization can really make a huge difference. So embrace those constraints. Those constraints are good. If you don't have that, it's kind of chaos and very expensive. I can say this because marketers ruin everything. And I'll tell you, hang on with me for a second. This is what this means. Do you remember when you first got a Groupon? You guys remember that when you get it? Like, does anyone remember Groupons? I don't know if I always think of this example. You were really excited to get that, like, buy, get one free couples massage or something, right? Like, from that group, it was like the best thing, $50 for both of us. Honey, let's go, right? Like, and it was so exciting. You got it, you did it, it was great. And then everyone else started catching on. All the other Groupon companies started coming at you, right? And then boom, you just got hit in every single way, like an email, and immediately it was like, oh, block, spam, market spam, unfollow, right? Because they were just flooding you, just like your LinkedIn today too. At one point that worked, and then you got flooded with it, and now it doesn't work because marketers ruin everything. What works starts to not work. And so we have to, as businesses, we have to constantly adapt. Constantly adapt, because what worked today won't work tomorrow. MVPs are insane, meaning minimum viable products. Yes, there's times where go to market is very, very important, so I don't want to smash that. But what you need to do, and this goes off of what Greg was mentioning and Bob was mentioning earlier, it's all about lovable products now. Creating lovable products is something that I would rather make a lovable product than a minimum viable product at any time. You know, it's not the way to keep customers. The world has moved way too quick now to put something out there that kind of sucks. Really does. You can't do it anymore. Your reputation's done. They've already moved on to the thing they like, to the thing that's fun, to the thing that's really useful and easy to use. Their customers love it. People want to love it. They don't. If it's not lovable, throw it in the trash or try again. Creating a culture to let people constantly share ideas. As a leader as well, I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not. But the cool thing is if you have a culture of where everyone feels very comfortable with shouting out ideas, you haven't given them swim lanes to get on, ideas are free, ladies and gentlemen, right? Just create a culture where they can just start coming up with things. It's actually a contagious thing within a culture if you're constantly spouting out ideas. People that didn't know they had it start to realize they have it, these creative ideas. So just create that. It's free. Guess what? They say it's not a good idea. Great. Don't do it. It was a free thing anyway. You didn't spend time. But create that culture. It is absolutely imperative this day and age. A company that talks about themselves is boring. So I don't think I have to say too much about that. If you're just talking about yourself, no one has time for that. So again, back to the company or the products being the story, the successes being the story. What you're solving is the story, not you. They don't care. So this is another theme that came across a lot today. There's a lot of scientific methods kind of being brought into a lot of the different themes. Pretend you're a rocket scientist. So what I mean by that is let's get scientific in what you do. You go, well, I'm a project manager here, or I'm a product manager. I head up the product, or I'm a developer. Great. Every product, everything you do starts with a theory. Right? We have an ERP implementation that we need to do, and our theory is that this will improve X, Y, and Z in our organization, right? That's a theory. It's probably a very accurate one, but it's still a theory. So guess what? Then you go through the process of getting it done, right? You do it, you test that theory, and then where you need to, you test that kind of that hypothesis, and you make tweaks to get it there, right? That is basically the scientific method. So pretend it's when you're releasing products, when you're releasing system integrations and implementations, it's kind of like the ultimate science experiment. It really is. So think of it that way. Think of it, that will help you every stage of the way if you think about it from a scientific perspective. Business needs over tools. Understand the business needs first. Never think that a tool, or never let a tool dictate how you work. It should be, this is how we should work, and the tool can help automate those things. You can make something work on a cork board first before you started implementing automation digitally. But if you figure that out, don't think the software by itself is really going to help you. It really doesn't. You have to understand from an implementation perspective and your actual needs, what you're going to need to automate, how it should work. Once you understand that, implement the tool. 10-minute meetings. I was talking about constraints earlier. Has anyone tried 10-minute meetings before? Okay. How'd they go? All right, some okay? Did any of them crash and burn? No? Good, because I actually thought the same thing. We tried them, and I'm the biggest talker in our company, I think. But we started doing these, and it's amazing what you can solve and get done in 10 minutes. It really is once you give yourself that constraint, and time is expensive. So try to set those types of constraints. It's certainly, it's amazing what it can do. Yeah, highly recommend it. Also, everyone's involved in the creative process. Who here has been a part of a discovery workshop in any way, shape, or form? Yeah? Okay, most people. Awesome. Have you noticed, and you can nudge the person next to you if your boss is next to you or something, but have you noticed sometimes when you're at a discovery workshop and you're talking to the leadership that you might get a different story than when you're talking to the people doing the work? Why is that? Well, because at the end of the day, you'll talk to a lot of leadership the processes are good, and workflows are good or whatever. But then you talk to to Johnny, who's in the front lines doing it. He's like, these processes are messed up. I have to do this 5 times, and just to get it to here and X, Y, Z. So at the end of the day, you need to involve the people across the board doing the work. Everyone should be a part of that creative process that touches something. So make sure that that's something that's constantly communicated. Leaders in the room, make sure you understand what's going on, because everyone's involved in that process. People pay for products, not projects. So focus on what's the reason, what's the purpose. I was talking to my friend from Link about this earlier, but what's the purpose of what we're doing here, of this system implementation? What's the purpose? What do we expect to see as a result? Then you know what you're doing, you understand the purpose, and now you can communicate that throughout all the people who are going to work on the project. Because a developer shouldn't just be a developer. A developer should know the vision, so they know how to build something a certain way. I think you were kind of talking about that. A designer isn't just a designer. They're going to need to design it based on the purpose and the plan that this project needs to, goals it needs to have. Project manager, same thing. The vision needs to be very much understood and communicated throughout. Because at the end of the day, a client is looking and has a need. They're paying for the product, they're paying for the deliverable, and the result, they're not paying for just a project to be done, right? Challenge assumptions frequently. I find this always a pretty interesting one because I don't know if you've ever heard the term of mirroring, but this is a really great way to kind of help when someone's when you see an assumption that comes up, you can actually mirror them. For example, if I go, oh man, I was really tired last night. You go, you were tired last night? Okay. You go, oh, well, yeah. I hung out with the OSI crew and we got sushi and we stayed up late. Oh, you hang out with those guys? Yeah, well, because we're at OSICON and we're here. You just start kind of getting into it, right? And you start really kind of getting to the root of something, a root of a problem, a root of a need. So challenge assumptions, challenge things that come up constantly. All right. You guys with me so far? So good? All right, cool. Heck yeah. So now we're talking about us individually, so it's gonna get real in this place. So saying no is a strength. I actually had to work on this a lot for me. I'm one of those people that I always want to say yes to people, especially ones that, I admire. Bit of a people pleaser in some ways. That was always like a root of me. And I realized that, saying no is definitely something you have to work towards. It's like a muscle you have to, because at the end of the day, like if I just said yes to everything, the business wouldn't grow. Like you just can't do it. You have to focus on what matters. And so saying no is something that and individually, it's not just leaders, because sometimes you have to say no to a leader, or the word I don't know, which I love. But it is a strength. And don't think of it as a weakness. Don't think of it as something that you are, being insubordinate by. Think of it as, at the end of the day, it is a strength when you know something's the right thing to do. Show up. Can we be honest? Is there sometimes you go to work and you just don't want to go? Right? Show up, be present. I mean, the people that we all kind of love and have strong connections with are people that showed up, right? I think everyone can think of a handful of people that when you need something, they're there. So we need to, so why not that be something that's always in the workplace? When that person is, your other fellow developer or designer or product manager is in need of something, show up and just be there. Because the person that shows up, those are the people that you really trust and you appreciate, and you'll always remember no matter where you're working that job or it's 10 years down the road. So be there, be present, even when you feel like it least. Show up. Punch above your weight class. This is one where I often will tell our team oftentimes, just because, you're not just a developer, you're not just a designer, where else do you want to go? What do you want to do? You want to go talk to that person? Go talk to that person. But as an individual, when you look at where you are at today, because at one moment, you probably did this. You probably went and talked to that one person you probably felt you shouldn't have even talked to. Or you did, you built something that you thought might not have saw the light of day, but you did it in a way and you told somebody. Punch above your weight class. Go keep growing. That's where I think Bob said it, I think really, really well. If there's anything that's worth doing, it usually has a risk of failure to it. And so if there's something that's a risk, that's what you gotta kind of challenge yourself and take. Punch above your weight class. Take a big swing once a quarter, I would say. That would be a big swing in your career, a big swing in something new. Try to do it every quarter, or at least maybe twice a year. Stay hungry. This one's challenging. I know it's if you're a business owner, there's different motivations, right? Like Greg, and Bob and a lot of people in this room. I mean, for me, staying hungry is something that's it can be easier for some people and harder for others. One of my motivations is, there's 12 people that work for the company, right? So there's some mouths to feed. There's some families to make sure are taken care of. That's a motivation, right? That helps me keep going. My family helps me keep going. When I look back and I go, when the times in the season where maybe I'm not at my best, it's because I lost a little something of that hunger. So to stay hungry is you got to realize and look at when you're not actually at your best, recognizing that, and then go back to the things that matter in your brain. Shock it back into reality. Okay? But stay hungry, because that's where the best ideas, the best work comes from. Your title doesn't matter. It really doesn't. You're a junior developer, work hard and act like a senior developer. Do code like a senior developer. Have the maturity like a senior developer. You don't have to stay where your title doesn't mean much, to be honest. You see a need, I'm sure, Greg, you can attest, when you see someone who sees a need and just goes for it, that's something that you really appreciate. If someone sees a gap and they go and they close it up and they work on it, that should be rewarded. Your title shouldn't stop you from that. It doesn't matter. Don't let it trick you into thinking that at all. Stop saying "I feel" or "in my opinion." Own your idea. Own your thought. Don't feel like you have to put a label on it that it's not good. We're all passionate people. You're here. We can be honest and just say, hey, this is what I think. This is it. This is what I noticed. Don't maybe just label it with an "I feel" or "in my opinion." Just go for it. Own it. You're smart. Take 20 minutes to learn something new each day. This one I tell myself I'm going to do, and I really suck at it. I really do. But I look back at where I was and where I am over the years, and when you kind of take that 360-degree view and you look, this one, you can kind of track back where you are today because you did this at one point. You learned how, you might have took 20 minutes to learn what Odoo does, right? Or an open source ERP system, or the new JavaScript APIs, or whatever your focus is. Take 20 minutes and learn something new. Our team every Friday actually gets together once a week, every Friday, and we share. Each one goes down the road and shares what they learned this week. It is wonderful. I learn stuff every week because of that. But yeah, take 20 minutes, learn something new. Knowledge is power. It's something that you can, in this fast world of tech, you need it, really. Be cheerleaders for others all the time. This is something I think we say we do a lot, but we don't really, if we get honest, we don't really maybe do it as much as we should. Let's just put it this way. When's the last time a person someone who works on your team, that you took them aside and say, hey, let's go directly to the CEO's office, and I want you to share your ideas with them. That's a way to be a cheerleader for somebody. Just saying you're doing a great job, Johnny, or whatever, really appreciate you. Great, right? Again, the BS is very obvious. So be cheerleaders for them. Get them right in front of the right people. Look at where they shine and elevate them. Especially if you're in management, you eventually want somebody to eventually take your job one day. So build them up. You see the person with that kind of talent, cheer them on by not just telling them they're doing a good job, but give them more tools, more resources, get them in front of the right people. That's really what a good cheerleader does. Soft skills are difference makers. I'll go through this one fast. Knowing how to really say something to somebody really makes a difference. There is so many times where, the email tough people. Yes, the email tough guy or tough lady. Soft skills are just the people that know how to communicate in the right ways, help softens the blow of bad news, knows how to communicate in the way of, giving criticism, but in a way that's helpful. Those are soft skills. It makes all the difference in the world. Someone's kind of spoke a little bit about this, but hiring, focus on the person. I think Bob mentioned this as well. Focus on the person, because guess what? I can teach you how to be a better developer. I can teach you how to maybe be a better designer or a systems admin. I can't teach you how to be a better person, right? So hire the person. Focus on the person, because we learn every day. We learn new things. And so it's a good one. Disagree. It sparks creativity. We do this all the time internally. Of course, disagree in a nice way, right? Be an adult. But disagree, because if you're not 100% certain, just be like, I don't know. Are you sure? I was thinking this. I was thinking that. All of a sudden, as you do that, everyone else around you starts thinking, and creativity just comes, and then you land on a really good solution. So disagree. Don't be afraid to disagree. And leaders in the room, make it easy for people to disagree with you. Kind of going back to some of their notes, transparency is trust. So just being transparent, obviously, is something that people start to trust you pretty quickly. I've never met one before. So just something I've observed over the years. So just, I'm not going to say anything else. Take email breaks. Those are great. Can we not do this anymore? The stop saying I'm so busy. We're all busy. We all got lives. We're all doing stuff. Like what I found when people say that, one, it's like they're justifying what their own jobs or whatever, right? But also, it also puts the other person next to them, like almost like there's this negative connotation that they're not doing a good job or they're not busy either, or they're not working as hard as you. So just kind of, stop saying that. Balance in everything. As individuals, you all know work-life balance, all that stuff. But one thing that I heard about this the other day. It was like a popular meme, so maybe you saw it, but it said 20 years from now, the only people that will know you stayed late every day and worked every weekend will be your kids or something like that. Actually a powerful statement, right? So balance in everything is key. Risk. All right, last section. I think this is the shortest one. We still good? Okay. Focus only on what matters. We talked a little bit about this when we talked constraints. What's moving your business forward? Focus on that. If you're overseeing a big implementation, if you're having conversations that aren't focused on the things that matter, to move that forward correctly, you need to have like a quick shock to be like, oh, let me take my time and focus on this. At the end of the day, it's what matters to move the needle forward, right? So keep your focus on that. Try not to get amnesia. We all do it, but if you're aware of it, keep an eye on it, but focus only on what matters, because that's how your business and the business you work for moves forward in the right direction. Because time is expensive. Yeah. If it's not a heck yeah, it's a heck no. This is something that we say often, talking about even about hiring. We go, do you want to work with this person every day of your life? Like when we're hiring, those are the questions we'll ask. And again, if it's not a heck yeah, like the person's great, then it should be a heck no. If it's, hey, we want to work with this organization, we want to do this partnership. If it's not an obvious, oh my gosh, yeah, then it should be a no. And again, back to no being a strength. Oftentimes the things that aren't so great in our lives often is because we didn't say no when we knew it wasn't a heck yeah, right? There's a really, really good reason why the top 5 software companies in this whole world, the top 5 software most highest revenue is all sales and marketing products. Have you noticed that? Why? Because no company can exist without sales. It's a bold strategy if you're not putting a priority on it. So companies, knowing that they can't survive without that, it's a lifeblood to them, invest millions and billions of dollars every year in these types of products and solutions. There's times where when everyone's working hard, everyone had to stop and pick up the phone and start calling people because no sales, no business. So especially if you're more in the startup game or you're in a smaller company, always put an emphasis there. Keep a close eye on that and keep a close investment on that. For every minute you spend building, spend 2x of that time on marketing. Don't underestimate how much work it is to convince people this day and age to use your product. This is why there's so many products out there that you don't know of or haven't heard of. A lot of people started building product. We have a just ridiculous amount of products out there today. It is actually ridiculous. But it's because the reason is because they spent the time, the money, the effort building it and creating it and thought people would just be convinced. And that is not how it is today. Any minute you spend building, know that you're going to need to double or even triple in the time to sell it and market it. Be impatient when it comes to excelling, like excelling your workflows, your processes. Ask the questions. Like when that ERP implementation just happened, after a year later, start asking the question. I thought we'd be here instead of here. Why is that? Right? What's going on with this process? Why aren't we hitting that goal we thought we were going to hit? Be impatient in that way. Ask those questions, because again, those questions, when you bring it up and you ask them, that's what actually solves the problem. Get to the root of why that is and go fix it. When it comes to growth, I think I was talking with Allison about growth last night. That was cool. But grow as demand for you grows. Yeah. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Don't overextend yourself. Grow as the demand for you, because you do good work, you're doing great, and everyone starts to realize it, see it, and then growth comes as a result. But focus on the quality, and it will grow. Build teams based on individuals, not skills. We kind of talked a little bit about that. I was talking to a few people today about this. Social media-wise, document. Don't feel like you have to create social media content. In fact, don't do that. Like right now, like you can take video of this really quick of what you're doing, put it up there, or your company, hey, our company's at OSICON, check it out. Like you're just document what you're doing. The work you're doing for your customers, document. This is what we did. Take video of the time that you were coding it. Take video of the time you're all sitting there together, and then, and be able to, assuming you have, NDAs and stuff, then put it out there, right? Document. Don't feel like you have to create content like that. Just put it out, document it, and it just keeps going, and you're able to, it's not something you have to take a lot of time and a lot of effort really on. Okay, and lastly, I think this is the last one. Follow up your follow-up with another follow-up, and then go follow that thing up. It doesn't matter if it's, if you're in sales, it doesn't matter if you are a product manager or a project manager or anything, you're constantly having to follow up. So just make sure that you're constantly in that ability to do so. And it's amazing what happens on the 4th or 5th or 6th try. Okay, everybody, we did it. Oh my goodness, and we're on time. Well, that's everything for me, everybody. Thanks so much. I hope you got something out of it. Appreciate it.